What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Getting ready here for our New York session. Welcome, everyone. Hope you all doing well. Jesse, you made the thumbnail of yesterday's video. Your comment on it. Check it out. I loved it. Yeah, here we go. What are we looking at this morning as we're getting ready here to see what is going on in the markets? We have Hey guys, we have a live stream right after this for those in the CTM. I'll post that link in the Conquering the Markets Telegram group. Alexander, what's going on, Stockholm? Good morning, everybody. Let me go ahead and go click that, and then we're gonna get in. I want to focus in on what we're seeing going on, and we're seeing those PMIs out of Europe confirming this risk-on attitude. Now, a lot of traders were saying, "What happened last night with that sell-off over here on the S&P?" U.S. Trade Secretary Navarro had said that basically the U.S. was done with the China trade deal, and that was quickly dismissed by the White House, and including a tweet from President Trump sending risk back on. And then we had the fundamentals confirming it this morning. We had strong PMIs, France going into expansion territory. Also over here in the UK, manufacturing went back over 50, back into expansion. The US in just about 45 minutes has manufacturing PMIs coming out. They're looking for a forecast of also at 50, which is dead neutral between whether or not you are in expansion and or contraction. Let's see if we also get a good number like out of Europe. That will help the markets for sure. And the markets continue to be, first of all, bullish. And with risk on, there seems to be a few, in our normal core afternoon S&P video who are definitely looking here for this to be the top of the market because the fundamentals don't align, and they're looking for that crash, and they think that this is now a good level. And yeah, you want to have that in the back of your mind, or the front of your mind, rather. You want to have that, you want to be looking for this to roll over, because the economy is, even though we're seeing some good signs today, the economy is in very poor shape, right? It doesn't warrant us almost, trading at all-time highs in the NASDAQ and S&P and Dow, possibly on their way to also confirming those new all-time highs in all three indices at the same time. Right now, this continues to be bullish. You should be looking on the buy side. Are there any short trades that we could take as we get oversold? Yes, but we're not oversold right over here. We look like we're on the verge of taking out this little bit of resistance over here. I have a level in at 31.47, but it's a little bit higher now. We have to clear, say, 31.60 right now, which will also be the top of this trend line. And if we do, then we could sail up and test these highs that were put in just a few weeks ago. But is there a trade to the downside if we do retrace? Yes. Look at this one. We got the way up. Okay. This was only, we went over this. I'm not going to go over this now with you. The reason this trade was taken over here short after this failure of the bull flag was exited so soon was to make back some trades that were break even and losses over in this area. That should have been held for this retrace back, and we will continue to take retraces. But we stepped in here to buy. This was also a fantastic trade. Right now, you really want to be waiting for your pullback. You want to be waiting for your pullback to step in to buy. You want to have patience. Right now on the indices, we're no longer in this type of volatile price action that went on for a couple of months. It had really big moves. We're not seeing that right now. So now you want to kind of pick your spot a little bit better, get into a nice position at the appropriate time, as was down here. I think that this becomes more attractive on a risk reward to sell as this trades up higher, right? If we came into this area over here, that would perhaps then open up a nice trade, a nice retrace. But right now, I don't think that there's any, the risk to reward is there to taking trades against the indices. Certainly, they seem to be shaking off lots of bad news. This is also resurgence in China of coronavirus. That's what this area is. So we shook that off Things have to get bad for us to begin selling off with some type of momentum. That's not happening right now. So let's just don't let your bias have a bias. You need to work out a bias in the markets. Don't have that make you where you can't see things and what's happening and be a part of what's happening at the moment. That's the goal here. That's what we want to do. Let's go. Let's take a look at what else is going on. By the way, we have those PMIs out of the US coming up in 40 minutes. The dollar was a wild ride last night. The dollar, when we received Navarro's statement about the trade deal ending, all of a sudden started appreciating and then has since sold off extremely hard now and continues to do so. Seeing those good PMI numbers out of Europe, perhaps. Let's see what happens as the US PMIs come out, where they come in, and what that does to the dollar. Otherwise, it looks like 96, the support at 96 could be where we're headed. We're at a support right now. You can see the last two touches over here. If price is unable to hold this level, it's going lower. So dollar continues to be soft. We're seeing silver up 1% on the day, and gold has yet to been able to break out over here. It looks like it's completely in play. Watch today. Watch this session over here as we're making. Are we making higher highs right? Yeah, we made a higher high already right now. Anyone looking to buy as we're playing the breakout over here this morning? Well, that could be a good trade. That could be a good trade. Gold continues to be something that you want to build a position into over the longer term. We're going to look at the euro, US dollar, and the Australian US dollar right now, which seem to be in a position where we might be able to add or take up new positions in either one of them. Trade on the currencies, on the pairs, look to get into positions in gold, look to get position into Bitcoin. And then we're going to, this is the other one. So the risk to reward on the S&P 500 is not as good as it is, even if I think this is going to 4,000. Even if I think this is going to 4,000 over the next 18 months, right? And I know that there's a big possible downside risk. I know that we could test the March lows, right? So, I'm risking 1,000 points on the upside and, just as much on the downside, more on the downside than the upside to hit 4,000. But the thing is that if the S&P hits 4,000, where's gold going to be trading at? Probably like 2,500 or above. And where's Bitcoin going to be trading at? Right? I don't know, probably $50,000 or above. So what's the better trade? Where's the better risk to reward? Even though I'm quite bullish here, I don't really see the allocating too much capital to equities as being a smart decision in this environment. The dollar remains the question. If anyone saw the link that I shared in yesterday's video in the afternoon, it was an interview with Lynn Alden, and she's talking about the debt in the United States, the dollar. And even though she's probably making the biggest bearish case, or I should say one of the most level-headed bearish cases backed up by, lots of thought and data, she's also what she's looking for over here. And we're going to follow what's happening with price, but we want to overlay everything. And what she's seeing is if there's no new stimulus by the end of July in the US, if there's no new stimulus by the end of the July, that the dollar should firm up from there. Probably, I don't know for how long, but for a period of time. That's what she's looking for, and that's a dollar bear. And she's saying as long as there's no new stimulus by July, we should start then seeing the dollar firm up. So just take into account that point of view, because that's a good balanced point of view. And is the U.S. going to be doing any stimulus, by the way, anytime soon? That's something to watch out for. I don't think we're going to get any bipartisan stimulus without the markets crashing, right? Without there being an absolute crisis. And but do look for the U.S. Treasury as we get closer to the end of the year, spending a lot of money. They have $1.5 trillion saved up. that money is going to be put to work, and we'll see what type of effect that then has on the dollar. But here we are watching the technicals. Dollars coming into a little bit of local support this morning. Watch if it's able to hold. Just like we said, if it lost 97, this is where it was coming down to. It has now the potential even to come down to into 96 and or lower. 95.20 is below that. There's the support down over there if we lose 96. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. I haven't been able to focus in yet too much yet on the chat. That's because I'm just keeping this going as we're figuring out what's going on this morning, where the opportunity is going to be. That's a strong look at gold. That's a strong look at the dollar, at the S&P, and the BTC. By the way, that's a pretty clear view on my view on the S&P market right now. I know that people have strong bearish views on that, and I understand why. I hope that my view is just helps you to balance out yours a little bit, because it's a good one to have right now. It's a good one to have. Anthony, good morning. Great to see you. Bitcoin this morning, also like gold, right? Continues on knocking on that door, continues knocking at that door. For Bitcoin, really, the level is right around the whole number of 10,000. It looks like if it could break out over here, it has more in it. It could definitely, as or gold, break out over here. Maybe we're waiting for the US either market open or the PMIs. The next half hour should let us know whether or not we hold this level or we break it. That could lead to the next move on gold and or Bitcoin. All look good. It was yesterday I made I told you all a couple of weeks ago I used BlockFi for the first time and had a great experience with it. That's why I started recommending it in the description below. And I started recommending it without an affiliate link just because it was the best experience I had. Kraken, which is a great place to buy Bitcoin, it's become very cumbersome to buy. It's a long process for KYC and then wiring funds. It's just a disaster. And BlockFi, the KYC was done right away, actually. Confirmed the next day within 24 hours. And then you send the same day wire, and then it posts within a couple of hours. I've done it now twice in a couple of weeks, and both times has been the most pleasurable experience for purchasing Bitcoin. Binance, like, as long as you have good security, keeping some money on Binance, right? Like, you whitelist your address so that if someone does able to compromise your login information and your two-factor authorization or swap you or something, if you have a whitelisted address, if someone changes that, it's 72 hours before they could then send money to a new address. So that gives you time to get your account back. Binance, you have to feel pretty safe. They've been hacked for, I think, $250 million. They covered it all from their insurance fund. You're probably not going to lose money holding it on Binance so long as you use safe practices. So, yeah, Binance is pretty good for trading. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, so it's Coinbase Pro. I'm not familiar with it. The last I used was, what was it called? GDAX. It was their pro platform a few years ago. So BlockFi is like Coinbase was 3 years ago. Coinbase 3 years ago was the easiest platform to use. It was huge for people who are new to Bitcoin being able to go ahead, connect their bank account, and buy Bitcoin. That's what BlockFi is right now, except 3 years later with a better working product. Plus, they pay you. If you're holding Bitcoin, 6% a year in interest. And if you're holding a stable coin, a US dollar stable coin, they're paying 8.6%. That's something to think about as we look, 18 months from now, come November, December 2021, as we're looking to position out of Bitcoin, takes profits off this trade we're putting together. Holding that money, then there's two options: holding that money in a stable coin and receiving 8.6% interest on it as we wait an extended period of time to start accumulating Bitcoin again. Or at that point, so it's not a taxable event, you could just take out a loan versus your crypto with BlockFi. you could take out a loan, and you could use those dollars then, hold on to your Bitcoin, pay off that loan during the accumulation phase, and then you're holding your same Bitcoin without having to pay taxes on it as you go through the next bull market. So interesting stuff for us to really, discern over the next. We have some time ahead of us, but what will be the proper thing to do as we're exiting the Bitcoin positions? What's the best thing to do? A stable coin is just something that is tracked completely to the dollar. A stable coin is worth $1. All right, what else? That's Bitcoin. So that's the big four where I am concentrating the majority of my focus. Right. S&P, Nasdaq. By the way, is this going to continue to outperform the Dow and the S&P to the upside? I mean, I think so. Right. If anyone has an adverse argument, I would be happy to hear it. But so long as this current situation that we're in, which is walking on eggshells, but the growth continues, is the Nasdaq going to conclude to lead the way? Yeah, BlockFi, George, is awesome. It's simple and easy to use. I tweeted a couple of weeks ago, and I asked, are the funds safe? That's the one concern with BlockFi. Are the funds safe? And I don't really have the answer to that. I don't know how they're able to lend out that type of interest, but I do know that they are backed by. How do I find it? I thought that was the page. There's if you go to the link in the description below where it takes you to BlockFi, it talks about their partners, and here you go. You could probably see right here their investors. The Winklevoss Capital, so all of their funds. This is important. Sorry for spending so much time on this morning, but this is really important. Winklevoss Capital is the Winklevoss brothers, the owners of Gemini, and they are an investors in BlockFi. BlockFi uses Gemini security, which means they hold 95% of the funds in cold storage offline using Gemini's security, 5% in a hot wallet. Coinbase, as we spoke of, this is like the new Coinbase. Easy to use, awesome. Coinbase is also an investor. You have Morgan Creek Capital, which is Anthony Papaloni and his team, who are also investors in here. And then you also have Fidelity. I don't see Fidelity's logo on this page. But Fidelity, which is $7 trillion fund, is also investor in BlockFi. So they got some pretty big backers, which leads me to be comfortable as long as I'm make sure that I am smart with my security. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, and that's another thing, by the way, timely advice over here. I also recommend at the same time, keeping money in a offline hardware storage device, such as a Trezor, a Cold Card, or a Ledger. And I highly recommend both. Again, whether it's Binance, whether it's BlockFi, whether it is FX Choice, whatever it is, if you have a portion of funds online, you should also always have some in cold wallet storage yourself. No, well, Mo. So Mo, I lost my Mo. I thought the last 5 months have been absolutely fantastic. It has been whether January, the ranges were expanding. December and January were fantastic months with trading ranges started to expand. That only got better in February. It was amazing in March. In April, in the beginning, on the rebound was also good. And then it got tricky from the middle of April through all of May was difficult to trade. But for the year has been phenomenally great for trading with 6 weeks involved that were difficult, but then all it took was 1 week to go ahead and from, the more or less break even, slightly loss for those 6 weeks to go ahead and make that money back. And then since then, the volatility is there. It's a great environment for trading right now. All right, so boom, boom, boom. Nasdaq, I do believe, is going to continue to outpace gains on between the equity markets, whether it is the Dow or the S&P. Nevertheless, Dow and S&P, it's quite possible they're able to break out to new highs eventually, maybe in the fall, right? And not only break out to new highs or sooner, but then you have all three indices trading at new all-time highs. Let's see what happens. 10 minutes to the U.S. markets open. We have about 25 until we get the U.S. PMIs. Let's start looking at some crosses because the euro US dollar is very interesting right now. Edward is saying the US dollar, Japanese yen. And why is this interesting? All right, this is setting up over here now for a long trade. We've been tracking the euro US dollar, looking to see as we came into this trend line over here, this trend line in this area over here, whether or not this was going to be, as we rejected it, a prolonged retrace, a deeper retrace, first maybe down to the support over here at 1.11. And if that didn't hold, maybe even further down to the support at the whole number of 1.1. All those things we were watching, but at the same time, we looked at the fact that, hey, we do have what is a descending wedge pattern developing. And if you break out to the upside, that could be a bullish continuation. That's what's happening right now. We had that breakout to the upside of the descending wedge we were watching, and so far it is broken out with nice momentum as we got, again, those PMIs out of Europe affirming. And then over here, it's stalled out in this area of resistance right now. Well, that makes sense that it's stalled out into the resistance after breaking through the 1.128 resistance level right over here. So now what we're looking for is how do you get into the trade? This resistance should now be support, right? So any type of retest into this support, that brings up an area where we're looking for an entry. So to get the entry, right, the support needs to hold. As long as the support holds and then price starts resuming up, making higher highs at the right time of day, that's a buy entry to take. Do you take it before you clear the trend line resistance? Yeah, if you get a signal off that support, you do. You take it into that resistance. You have a good risk to reward. A 1-to-1 risk to reward going into resistance is very good because as you get into that resistance, you're not taking profit here. You're not taking profit with the same risk to reward ratio as your stop. No. You could be locking in your trade, moving your stop to break even, but you're looking for that to push and break out over here. If that does, that could set up a nice trade. Now, we'll look at a target in 1 second, but before we do, what happens if we don't get that pullback? What happens if we now break through this resistance without a pullback? At that point, then we would be waiting for and looking for a retest back into that area of broken resistance, and that could open up the entry to the upside. So that's two possible entries that we're watching over there on the euro US dollar. A target, if it breaks out over here past this resistance, right, past the last swing high, at that point we could be looking at testing in this area somewhere around, let's call it the whole number of 1.16. All right. The Brahma Bull. When we look for entries, are we waiting for breaks and retest of the support and resistance? How do you look for entries when in consolidation between a support and resistance and there are no breaks? So the Brahma Bull, I mean, good question. So the purpose, right, of this, hold on 1 second. The purpose of this is to provide a strategy, right? These are the goals right here, right? These are the goals. The first goal is turning the corner to profitability. What I'm doing is providing here a method, a strategy that you are able. Look at the goals. I mean, the goal is first of all get yourself to break even, right, and then turn the corner to profitability. And then your next goal needs to be constant and profitable. And then you're looking for the ultimate goal of 2 to 3% per month, right? 2 to 3% per month, right? Before you get there, obviously you're looking to achieve 1% a month, right? Now, to do that in a way where you're trying to give someone a system that is purely technical and really as close to black and white as possible, it's really hard to achieve in the markets a 20 to 30% yearly return. That's a fantastic return in the markets. And how do you do that, right? How do you give someone trading is very, very nuanced. It's very nuanced. You can't just, by being able, to condense it and present it in a way where someone has the ability in a relatively short amount of time. Because I'm working with you all the time, and I see really generally within a few weeks, people get themselves to where they are now. They're break even to slightly profitable. That's pretty good in 3 weeks. And then from there, they're continuing working towards the next goal, which is just that constantly profitable, right? Not yet the 2 to 3%, right? But more towards just being constantly profitable. And to do that within 12 weeks is really quite a feat. So perma bull, is that the only way to do it? No. I'm trying to give you what I'm doing is providing a strategy that can be followed by not everyone is going to be able to do it because not everyone else has the same commitment. Some people are unable to take 3 trades a week, and they'll continue to take maybe 10 trades a week. Some people are just unwilling to commit to what needs to be done. They're not going to see the same results, obviously. So if the questioner is asking what happens when price is consolidating, so I'm looking for a level really where price is consolidating. And I see it consolidating here above the broken resistance as support, right? I don't see an area on the chart right now where it's consolidating below the resistance, like waiting to break out above. To give you like a real time example. So I hope that's helpful, Brahma. Yeah, I like this comment. Before following the channel, I thought trading was about predicting the markets correctly. And now I realize it's about listening to what the markets are telling you. Fantastic insight and as true as can be. As can true as be. Yeah, so Danny, you want to take a look at the gold charts to know where your channel should be placed. And, so you see these two, look how I drew these in, Danny. I did this on purpose. So I just drew like this is the channel, right? Look, there's the channel. Are we breaking out of the channel right now, by the way? It looks to me like we are. Again, this definitely looks to me like you are. Here's an example, Brahma Permeable. This is kind of consolidating here below this is the resistance. We're consolidating below it right here, right? And you're looking for the next break up. Now, why I teach that the correct entry here then is waiting for the breakout, right? And then a pullback into that broken resistance, waiting for it to come as firm support. If it does, you take the resumption upwards. That's a safe, high probability trade to get yourself into. Is this breakout right here, right now, a good trade to get into without waiting for the resumption? I mean, generally speaking, breakouts are not a high probability trade. So while you might get a nice trade off of there, right? Because after coming into the resistance and then pulling back and then as consolidating and then breaking up, that move, it could be, that's something for you to discern if that's a trade you want to take or not. That's a good trade. What I'm trying to do is just give everyone the higher probability trade, because I know if they are able then to take 3 of those a week, right? Following the strategy and my guidance in the core, they're going to be profitable. And that's the goal I'm trying to achieve over here, right? With y'all. Yeah, I don't no idea if that's a false break or not. It's too soon. I mean, you can't call that a false break yet. However, this was the entry back down over here off of this support. This was the entry. Is this a place to add or take another entry? Yeah, it could be. Looks good. Gold looks pretty good over here all around. Um, but we are on the verge of breaking out of this channel to the upside. We're on the verge of breaking out of that channel to the upside. Yeah, that's true, Cameron. Also, right? That's very true. Great insight in Forex. Wait for the retest, but with gold, she often breaks and runs, and that's absolutely the way it is. Bitcoin also will be doing the same thing as gold. It's going to have volatile moves to the upside. It's going to have volatile moves to the upside. Jesse, great. That's awesome. I'm glad to see you. Glad to be here. Enjoying this session so far this morning. Let's take a look also at the Australian dollar, US dollar. That was also providing, like the euro US dollar, an interesting area for setup. Now notice what we're looking at over here as I zoom in. We were looking at this area as a possible area to short. I kept it this blue box between this level at 0.694, which we're breaking above now. So now we're going to be looking where we're looking for an entry, and this resistance over here at 0.69, right? You could see that has now broken to the upside. No longer would you be looking for a short. Why would you look for a short? You could see that's a downtrend. So, into resistance here on a downtrend after being rejected at this resistance and then coming up and making a lower high. That was an opportunity to look for a short trade, but we're seeing risk on. We're seeing risk on. I don't see any signs that this current, let's call it situation, should change. The current flow of the market. Listen, there's been plenty of opportunity for risk off to really show its head, including what we saw last night with, the deal's over between China and the US, to the resurgence of coronavirus inside China, and all those things, the growing global overall cases, all that stuff is not really the market shaking that off. It's not what it's focused in on. Don't think about what the markets should focus in on. Worry about what the market is focusing on. And right now we have this risk on environment. Sure, it could continue. We're looking right now as we've broken above this resistance. We're looking for retests now for support, the first pullback we're looking for. And as long as this area holds over here, that's quite bullish. Be looking for entries not only on the euro US dollar, but also on the Australian dollar US dollar. And that brings us back to then the DXY, right? Because the DXY, we were looking at the potential reverse head and shoulders, right? Breaking out, and that should have took us back towards the 98.30 level at least. That failed. And now we have momentum to the downside. We're going to watch what happens this morning. I think even if we get some really solid PMI numbers out of the US, and that is firming of the dollar, you have to look now at these areas of support for selling. You're right now, you're in a downtrend on the dollar on a swing traders time frame over here, and you're looking back now to sell resistances after that reverse head and shoulder pattern failed. Momentum is to the downside. We got to really do some work here before technically this looks like perhaps a bottom's being put in, and that might be right now. Getting back and regaining the 97.60 level until that happens. So what does that look like on the euro US dollar? Like, when would this be a failed breakout to the upside if this resistance holds over here, right? When do you consider this a failed breakout of this descending wedge that is right now breaking out nicely, pausing at this trendline resistance, hopefully comes back down, confirms, holds this, gives us an entry long, or breaks above the resistance here, confirms it, and gives us a long entry. Two possible good long entries to look for right now. When would this be a failed break? Well, really, we would have to take out that low down over here at around 1.17. And then we would say, all right, well, that was a failed break. But until then, this looks like, looks pretty bullish here on the euro. Traders were asking if they could, about taking multiple trades on the euro US dollar, maybe the euro British pound, and also the euro Japanese yen. That's really increasing your risk. Even if you're risking 0.5% per trade, now you're taking on 1.5% risk all on the same pair. Maybe, 3 trades a week, 2 of them on the same cross pair makes a lot of sense. 3 trades at the same time, all on the same cross pair, that's definitely increasing your risk. Do traders count resistance support failures? I'm not sure exactly, GP, what that means. The percentage failure of support and resistance trades. I mean, we greatly increase ours by waiting for the retest, holding, and then resumption, because breakouts of support and resistance themselves, that's a low percentage trade. They have a high rate of failure. You could see, for example, right over here on this bar, you could see right here that this had pierced above a breakout of the resistance and was a failure. Here was a failure to the downside. You get failures often. That's why we wait for, we're over here. If we were to have a trade, it would have looked like the breakout and then that level holding and the resumption off. That keeps us out of bad trades. Yeah, the Burma Bull, always, the best thing to do is just send me an email, right? Just send me an email with the Burma Bull as the subject heading. What's going on, Millennial Republic, over there in beautiful, beautiful Texas? Boom, boom, boom. All right, so where else are we at? That's the only pairs we've looked at is the Australian dollar, Australian dollar, US dollar, and the euro, US dollar. Let's also take a look at the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. We were looking at this yesterday during the live stream, talking about it looks good over here, resuming off of holding the support. Looked like an area to get long. What's happening right now? Really, why the euro US dollar and Australian dollar US dollar look really good. I kind of see a consolidation happening over here. You could see it. Follow me. Like, this is consolidating. So really, until it breaks this range, I don't see the necessity of being involved on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Is that a big enough range to play? If you sell the resistance over here around 74.70, and then you play it all the way down, that's 100 pip. This is 90 to 100 pip range over here. Still selling the resistance over here, buying the support over here. It's interesting, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not ever looking for trades to have the same risk to reward. If I'm not looking to push them further. So I'm looking, if I'm taking the entry over here at 74.80 and I'm looking for 76.10 as the first resistance, really, to go ahead and possibly lock in some profit, right? And I'm only, that's a 1 to 2 risk reward. That's more attractive than taking something in here. On the euro US dollar, however, if we break out of this resistance over here, and as we already looked at, that has the potential to really offer a nice opportunity over here. That's offering a nice opportunity. That's where you want to make your money. The difference between going from break even as a trader and then to becoming consistently profitable is going to be you have your average stop loss, and let's just say, for example, it is let's call it a half ATR for using an example. And so your overall profit needs to be at least 2 times greater than that. At least 2.5, way better, right? So how do you do that? Well, you have to make sure that you're taking trades that are giving you the possibility and you are trying to push them, which means that more often than not, your goal is to be really a break-even trader with those trades you're taking that are getting stopped out at small profit. right? Traders get frustrated if they take a euro US dollar here, right? Let's see, it comes up to here and then comes back and they didn't make any money on that trade. Well, that's what you're trying to do, actually. You're trying to stay a break even trader until you get those fewer trades that actually push and that you're able to make profit on. That's going to be the overall difference between a month, those one or two trades that you were able to push out for good profit. US dollar, Japanese yen. US dollar, Japanese yen, Burma. We're doing a live training session a little bit. That's really a more appropriate question to spend time on that. That's about a half hour from now. All right, but those questions are definitely for the live training sessions. U.S. dollar, Japanese yen. Looking at you know I'm looking at something that also is getting ready here for a big move, but that's continued to consolidate. I'm watching over here that area of support, right? And you can see actually this is where it was resistance and again resistance. That's a big level that's been consolidating down out here for the last few months. And then I'm obviously watching that triangle pattern developing. So we are getting ready, and there's a big range in here to trade right now, but we're getting ready for what is going to be, I think, a big move. It's not happening right now, and I don't think that the opportunity right now is on the US dollar, Japanese yen, right? I don't think this is where the opportunity is, but keep watching it because a big trade could be coming up at some point in the future. It's not breaking yet, either to the upside or downside. So it's just kind of better to back off and go where it's happening, go where the opportunity is. What about the New Zealand dollar, US dollar? Because where the opportunity looks like in this moment is really, it looks like the dollar could be on possibly the verge of losing another support level and then seeing further weakness. We could see for further extensions. US dollar, Mexican peso. Mexican peso must be getting punished, but not really. It's up. That's the 3-day chart. Excuse me. Yeah, this is when it was putting in the lows. All right. I was just looking where I had exchanged a bunch of pesos for dollars. Why I'm not comfortable in the trade, I'm still up in the trade, so that's good. But yeah, you're coming back down now into an area of support here on the US dollar, Mexican peso. You have to look at that, right? You're coming into an area of support. So why I'm bullish the indices in this moment, which could lead me to believe that we're going to see further downside pressure on the US dollar, Mexican peso. If you were to try to take that buy over here, right over here, I mean, that made sense. That was a good trade to take. Or if you wait now for the next one, if you get another one, as long as you hold that level, another entry into there. They all look like good buy opportunities. I wouldn't even play this to the downside if it's going to continue to go to the downside. And so I have to ask myself, why not? That's probably let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about this for a second. It is consolidating right over there. That's very good observation. If we're looking at seeing the U.S. equity markets, the S&P, right, continue to rise in this bullish scenario. I know people don't like to talk about it. People really don't like to talk about it because it shouldn't be so bullish. But if it is, just for the next 3 months, if we're going to see a slow grinding rise in the S&P 500, right, that means we're going to see further grinding losses here on the U.S. dollar, Mexican peso. Right? Do we wind up even taking out the support here at 2150? Right? Would that be the S&P trading back at all-time highs, or would that be closer down towards 1950? That I'm not sure about. Maybe this is just taking out the June highs on the S&P. That makes more sense. You have a nice swamp that you're collecting here still versus the peso. Even though Mexico is continually lowering their rates, you still have a really high swamp rate. That might become a nice carry trade in this environment. A better play than going long the S&P might actually be going short the dollar versus the peso if the dollar continues to decline over here, and be collecting that swamp and make this your play in the equity market. Something to think about. Something to think about. Damn, this guy has no idea he honestly changes his mind every 2 seconds, and that his bias towards Bitcoin. Be careful of this guy. Says his views to benefit Bitcoin. Yep. Dan. Dan. Now you spam. Dan. Damn Fabio. Damn Fabrio. I take this some time out of our live stream here to highlight your comment, and then you got to go ahead and spam. Come on, what's wrong with you, Dan? What's wrong with you, damn Fabro? Come on, man. Thoughts on 3120 S&P 1 hour demand for buyers? We'll look at that in a second. Oh, and then damn, you're stupid. Thanks, damn. I appreciate the honesty and the forthright, letting me know that I am stupid. And damn, why you hating, brother? All right, let's check it out. Sorry about that. Let me get back to the important stuff. I had to get rid of him though first. You were looking at 3120. Let me highlight that comment first. Crazy like a fox. Thoughts on 3120 S&P 1 hour demand for buyers. I'm going to look at here on the 8 hour. Is 3120 an area of support to lean into? I mean, so by the way, you are in resistance right here on the S&P, right? You could see that you're into this resistance. When we looked at the S&P earlier today, my view was you need to have patience now on this type of market, which is no longer fast moving as it was, right? Now it's, by the way, to answer your question simply, 3120 is a nice area of support over down there. You can lean into that over here. If you get the opportunity, if you get a breakout over here, right over here, as we're coming back down now into that, this is beautiful. Right now, as price broke above this resistance, the red line at 31.47, and came into this resistance, right, which is normal then to come back down. If it holds this and starts resuming up, breaking out over here, you want to get long. You do want to get long, right? Where are you looking to get short over here? Because you're coming into an area of resistance. You start making lower lows on the 8 hour time frame. You could get short here to play the retrace, because who knows where that will be. It would be beautiful, right? A retrace into 30.30. That would be really bullish, holding that trend line. And again, we still even have into this area. This is all opportunities to buy. You could play this retrace, but wait for a lower low on the 8 hour. But on the 1 hour, if you get a breakout here right now, that's an opportunity to get long on the S&P. Let's see what happens now. What was the number, by the way? So it came in basically in contraction below 50, but yeah, so this doesn't bode well for really a stronger dollar at this moment by any means. Let's watch what happens. Let's just watch the flow of the market over here. Well, how did the dollar react? The dollar is now looking to take out that level over here. We're looking right over there. That could push us back to 90.60. So what about the euro US dollar over here? For me, again, I have to wait. I'm waiting, right? And I'll have to see where the opportunity lies. Trying to catch up in your comments, guys. Now I'll explain that. He thinks one user could. Yeah, well, hey, Jason, if I could influence the price of Bitcoin up, then I'm all about introducing people to what I believe is the best opportunity right now in the markets. That is Bitcoin by a large margin, and I believe that speculators should speculate. Fortune favors the bold, right? So I will continue to be bullish until you guys see me turn bearish on Bitcoin. But you guys already know that there will come a point in time in the market where I'll become bearish on Bitcoin. I hope people don't get mad at me down because if people accuse me right now of being have any participation of ending the bull market in Bitcoin, I apologize right now. Or if you think that I could cause a bull market in Bitcoin, then I'm so sorry you believe that. Boom, 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 boom. If yeah, Model 3, some people just don't like moderation. Some people just don't like moderation and they don't like people that are unbiased. They don't like people that are fair and balanced. Interesting environment we are in now where people that are unbiased, balanced, like to consider both sides of an argument. Charles, thank you so much. Thanks, brother. Appreciate that. Listen, so far it was a good session in the fact that I really like. I think it's more important to just start incorporating a lot more instead of just going through looking at the charts together. Incorporating a lot more of the dynamics of trading over here. What we need to focus on together, start trying to steer the ship the best way possible to bring the most traders with me to the upside. That's what we're looking for. Thumbs down for that. Thumbs down for trying to help people. That's cool. BTC is a great protection against government freezing your accounts. One of the greatest benefits of Bitcoin is the fact that it is unconfiscatable. Yeah, it's unconfiscatable. The government can't just come in like they can into your bank account. They could freeze funds. They could cut you off the system. They can't do that with Bitcoin. Now, they can hold you in jail if you stole someone else's Bitcoin until you release those private keys. That they could do, but they couldn't actually steal it without your permission. I think it's I guess I don't spread any type of hate to anyone, so I don't like when people hate on me. That's crazy, but that's all good. Whatever. Yeah, the burn bill. That's going to be in about 20 minutes at 10:15 Eastern time. We're going to go ahead and hold that live training session. The Burma Bull. The link will be posted in the CTM Telegram chat group, and it's also on the dashboard. If you go into the website and you go to the dashboard, you'll see a link for that CTM group. That's where that will be. Testing the lows here on the S&P. Let's check it out. S&Ps are up healthy. I'm not looking for a turn in the market. So this is pretty cool to watching live action over here. We're watching the 1 hour. The markets are not really moving as they were. We're watching, by the way, so here's the break of resistance, right? This is why we don't take breakouts. It comes into the resistance and pulls back. We're looking for this line to hold here to take a long entry. And look, it kept us out of the trade. We never had a trigger. Now, it's possible we wick back up here and still hold the support and provide an entry. But if you're looking at this is exactly what prevents us from low probability entries over here. This keeps us over here. Is this a place to pick up a short or look for a short? Well, that would be really counter trend. You are being rejected by that resistance so far. So you might want to be looking for the retrace. I think it's easier right now in this slow moving market to do that on the 8-hour time frame. If you made a lower low on the 8-hour time frame, holding that resistance, right, and this horizontal resistance right there also, that could provide you a signal to get short here and then see how far back the pullback goes. But also in having in mind that you're looking to reverse yourself and build into a long position from there. All right, everyone. I'm gonna end this session a little short today. It's been 1 hour. I'm gonna end it short only because it's Tuesday. This Tuesday we're doing the live training session. I'm gonna prepare for that right now. It's gonna start in 20 minutes. I thank you for the time. I got hated on today. That's awful. I was told I was stupid. So so tomorrow we won't have anything lined up after the live training session. We'll be able to push it out longer, probably go 90 minutes, maybe even 2 hours. Be looking to do those live training sessions once a week and also some longer training sessions here a week. But I like the flow of this one that we did today where we were actually getting into a little bit more of I don't even know how to describe it or call it, but not just looking at the charts, but looking how to trade them. Really going over step by step is what is needed. And sometimes, we want to make sure we're able to take everyone here with us and don't want to leave people behind, and going over some stuff which might seem basic to some people who've been here for a while. To others, it's not. It's what they need to learn and what needs to be focused on. It's always good focusing in on what's important. Hey, Roman, everyone, Miguel, awesome, Miguel. Hey, Steven, don't spam the channel, please. If I miss a comment, I miss your comment. In the description below are a bunch of resources, Steven, for you, if that's what you're looking for over there. Happy to help everyone. Oh, Brady, thank you. Appreciate it. I feel terrible putting it up, but you guys are great. And Cameron, thanks for bringing every day the positivity, helping this community keep that growth mindset, which is so important to achieve anything in life. You have to believe it. You have to really be working towards your goals with consistency and discipline, keeping that positive attitude. Yes, I could do this. I got this. Anthony. uh, Hanson, by the way, top of my priority today, getting back to your weekly review or your review of those couple of charts you sent. 100% my priority. Appreciate you and the patience on that. And looking forward to that and moving forward. Everyone, that's it, man. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you tomorrow.